okay. I mean, look, she missed the 5 games because of the quad injury.
Caitlin Clark is out again with an injury, which is the worst thing you can hear if you're a fan of the Indiana Fever, and really if you're a fan of the WNBA, because obviously Clark is the engine that makes the Indiana Fever go and is the single biggest driver of interest in the WNBA.
That's the headline that stopped WNBA fans in their tracks. Just weeks after returning from a left quad injury, Caitlin Clark is now sidelined again, this time with a groin issue.
Caitlin Clark out yet again with a left groin injury. Caitlin Clark will be missing tonight's game versus the Los Angeles Sparks. The venue will be open. Out with a left groin injury. We go from a quad to a quad to a groin.
The timing couldn't be worse. She was finding her form, dropping dimes, and lighting up scoreboards. But now questions are swirling. Is it just soreness? Or is this the beginning of a troubling trend for the Fever's franchise player?
The Indiana Fever just lost a really tough game against the Los Angeles Sparks, and it comes back to the 4 things the Indiana Fever always have trouble with: missed layups, missed free throws, interior defense, and rebounding. That is why the Indiana Fever lost this game, and that's why they cannot be a championship team, in my opinion. You have to be able to get stops. You have to be able to rebound the basketball when you do force stops, but there was some positives in this game as well that we have to get into. Kelsey Mitchell was spectacular. I love to see her furthermore breaking her shooting slump. She had 20 points today on 44% shooting from the 3-point line, so you like to see her have 3 back-to-back games in a row where she's having over 20 points. She's totally in her groove.
This latest setback has fans and analysts worried, and for good reason. Clark had been battling a left quad injury earlier this month that already kept her out of 5 games. Now, just as she was building momentum again, this groin issue pops up on the same leg. While the team hasn't said if the 2 injuries are connected, it's hard not to wonder if the intense workload and non-stop schedule are starting to take a toll on the rookie phenom. And that's the big question right now. Is Caitlin Clark's body sending warning signs? She's gone from an intense college season straight into the pros with little recovery time and huge expectations. She's logging big minutes, facing physical defenses every night, and carrying the spotlight like no other rookie in recent memory. It's no surprise if her body is starting to feel that pressure. For a player who had never missed a game before, this string of left leg issues is starting to feel less like bad luck and more like a wake-up call.
Pre-game routine, she was doing some things differently. Some fans also noticed that she had her upper left leg taped during a couple of those games. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things pointing to the fact that something wasn't right. And I have to be totally honest with you guys, I'm not surprised by this news at all. I was just having a conversation with my fiance last night, and I told him, I was like, I think Caitlin's hurt. I'm not going to be surprised if sometime soon the Indiana Fever pulls her and sits her for a few games. I think she is still battling some sort of injury. And less than 12 hours later, the news dropped from the Fever. But it's a tough blow not only to Caitlin, because we know that she loves to be on the court. It's a tough blow for the Indiana Fever because that is their superstar. Whether she is playing to the best of her abilities or not, they are still a better team with her on the court.
When Caitlin Clark returned from that quad injury, she didn't just ease back in. She lit the league on fire, dropped 32 points, nailed 7 threes, and took down the New York Liberty, the defending champs, handing them their first loss of the season. It was vintage Caitlin, but since that explosive comeback, something's been off. In her last 3 games, she's gone just 1 for 23 from beyond the arc. Yeah, that's not a typo. Whether it's lingering pain, exhaustion, or the wear and tear of carrying a franchise, the spark that fired up New York suddenly looks like it's flickering. And here's where things get even more complicated. The schedule. Indiana is right back on the floor Friday night, taking on the Dallas Wings, less than 24 hours after losing to the Sparks without Clark. That's a brutal turnaround, especially for a player dealing with a soft tissue injury like a groin strain.
Caitlin Clark clearly not looking like herself. The Indiana Fever has the game put away, yet we still put her back in the game at 45 seconds left. Caitlin Clark dealing with an injury, not looking like herself. The game is already out of hand, yet we still put her back in. with 45 seconds left. How much patience do I need to have before I can start going nuclear? Because I am getting very frustrated with what I am seeing.
One of the league's most stacked and physical teams. So the coaching staff, led by Stephanie White, has a real decision to make. Do you take a risk and throw Clark back in for Dallas, possibly aggravating the injury? Or do you sit her, protect her long terms, and bet on her returning at full strength for a massive nationally watched matchup against the defending champs? Coach White says Caitlin is mentally tough, and we've all seen that, from the college courts of Iowa to packed arenas in the pros. She also called her a quick healer, but even toughness has its limits when you're dealing with repeated injuries to the same leg. The Fever's playoff hopes may be on the line, but so is the health of the league's biggest rising star.
Dealing with an injury, not looking like herself, the game is already out of hand, yet we still put her back in with 45 seconds left. How much patience do I need to have before I can start going nuclear? Because I am getting very frustrated with what I am seeing. To everybody that said Caitlin Clark didn't look like herself, salute to you. For everybody that said Caitlin Clark might be going through something, salute to you. Clearly, you all saw what that person that stands there like this can't.
Clark's injury timeline isn't just a list of setbacks. It's the start of a pattern that's raising serious red flags. Let's take a step back. Just a few months ago, Caitlin Clark was leading Iowa on a historic NCAA tournament run, playing heavy minutes under intense pressure, often carrying the entire offense on her back. She wasn't just playing, she was dominating, making deep tournament runs while attracting record-breaking TV audiences, and single-handedly changing the conversation around women's college basketball. Then, barely weeks after the national championship game, she jumped straight into the WNBA. No off-season, no recovery, no time to rebuild her body from a grueling season. Straight from college to the pros. And the WNBA? It's no warm-up league. The game is faster. The defense is tougher. The physicality is real. And from day one, Clark became the center of attention. Not just for her team, but for the entire league. She's logging major minutes, facing hard screens, full court pressure, and the physical toll of elite-level defense every single night. Add in the pressure of being the WNBA's top rookie, the constant travel, media duties, brand obligations, and the expectation to deliver highlight reel plays every game, and you've got a load that most rookies simply don't carry. Now, we're seeing the fallout. First, a preseason leg issue. Then, a quad strain that benched her for 5 games. Now, a groin injury. All on the same leg.
Do look at it, and you take a look at the injury. Stephanie White spoke about it, so let me give you the latest. This all just came out, so this is all as I speak. Basically, Tony East, shout out to him. This is the video of Stephanie White discussing the Caitlin Clark injury.
With Caitlin, when did you guys find out about this groin injury, and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our strength and conditioning and our physical, our AT staff do what they do best. But yeah, I found out late last night, and then we'll treat it day to day.
And let's not forget, Clark's the centerpiece of the Fever's rebuild. She's not just a player, she's the brand, the ticket seller, the reason millions are tuning in. Which makes it even more important to step back and ask the hard question, are the Fever and the league protecting Caitlin Clark, or pushing her too hard, too fast? Now she's dealing with multiple injuries, all to the same leg within the span of weeks. A preseason leg issue, a quad strain, and now a groin injury. That's not nothing. That's her body throwing up red flags. Caitlin's toughness has never been in question. She's a competitor, she shows up and she wants to play. But sometimes, the smart move isn't pushing through, it's pulling back.
The cat is out the bag, dog, for Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark. It's being reported that she has suffered a left groin injury and she is out. Now, we all knew Caitlin Clark's health was a major issue. She has simply been playing some of the worst basketball of her career, and a lot of people, even myself, has been pretty vocal about Caitlin Clark and this shooting slump. A lot of people was blaming it on the front office. That's why I didn't even go down that line and produce content blaming it on the front office. There had to have been a reason why Caitlin simply wasn't Caitlin, and I told y'all, sources was telling me that something was bothering her.
The Fever have to ask themselves, do we want Caitlin Clark at 70% right now? Or do we want her at 100% for the future? This isn't just about Friday's game or next week's showdown with the Aces. This is about protecting one of the most important athletes the league has ever seen. Fever fans are holding their breath. Will Caitlin Clark suit up Friday night in Dallas? Or will the team play it smart and hold her out until that huge matchup against the Aces next week? Either way, this feels like a turning point, not just for Indiana's season, but for the future of one of the most electrifying stars women's basketball has ever seen. What's the right move? Play through it, or protect the bigger picture? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want the real story behind every Caitlin Clark update and WNBA headline, make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button. We've got more coming.